We are in the heart of winter, so thought I'd do a little project. Took off the Screamin Eagle Ventilator air filter on my Dyna. The stock setup is this little rubber hose which allows oil mist coming from the valve part of the engine to be drawn in here, and these little rubber things basically allow it to be sucked right back into the intake. When I took off my air cleaner, there was some oil, just a little bit, laying right here and also on the bottom of the filter, which is a consequence of having that oil being drawn in here. And so a very popular mod is to do the breather, external breather. I saw someone else that did it on this style air filter, and so I'm going to imitate that. I've made a small mark here and another one over here, which is going to be where I'm going to start drilling. The goal is to drill a hole large enough for this hose, which is what? How big is this hose? It's a 1/4 inch inside diameter, and it comes out to about 1/2 inch externally, so it's going to be about the size of that hole there. So the idea is we're going to put the hose on here and do a 180 and go out the back of this backing plate. And then once the hose comes out the backing plate, each piece of hose will be hanging down about here, and I'll have a little piece here which I'll show you next. I'm going to start with a small bit and just work my way up real nice and slow. I do not want this thing to crack. I used a 5/64 bit to make a pilot hole on each side. As you can see, I also put something to catch the debris. It looks like it's metallic. It might be aluminum. I've had a backing plate in the past on a different bike that was plastic, but I'm just going to take my time here. Alright, making some progress here. So I just wanted to show the bits that I've progressed through. And the next size up is going to be the 1/2 inch, which is the big guy. So as I've progressed through here, you can see there's quite a bit of debris. And as you get into these bigger sizes, you really don't want to go too fast on the drill. I'm doing about a medium speed. And you don't want to press too hard. You could put something back here, like some wood or something. The problem is it's kind of indented. So putting a block back here, it doesn't really sit right on it. So I'm just going to go nice and easy. And as it gets near the end, that's where you really have to be careful so it doesn't crack. So if you just keep it at a medium speed, you should be okay. Something else I forgot to mention is you want to make sure none of that debris gets inside the engine. I mean, super critical. So I'm going to take an air compressor hose and just blow the heck out of this so that all this debris is out of the way before I continue. So you can take this backing plate off, obviously, do this whole job off bike, but I just decided to do it this way. I'm going to spray a little brake cleaner just to get off anything remaining. Alright, so I used brake cleaner and also compressed air to blow out all the debris. I'm satisfied with how clean it is. So I showed you the brake hose, or excuse me, the fuel line. It goes through nicely. It's snug. I may put some black silicone on this just to keep out any unfiltered air. Not a bad idea. So what am I going to do with this? Well, I'm going to feed this fuel line, as I said, off the breather, through the hole and out the back. Then where they meet up, I have a brass T. It's 1/4 inch inside diameter hose on these two, and then I believe this is 3/8. I got this little K and N. I don't remember exactly what they call this filter, but a lot of people use it. And that will sit under the cleaner. I don't really want it to be tremendously visible, but that's where it's going to go. Push that on as snug as possible. So basically, these offsets are where the filter is going to be, so I have enough room to make this 180-degree turn. So that looks good. And we'll do that on each side. Alright, so I ended up using 9 inches in length of hose, and that brings each one down like so. And I'm going to use this style clamp. I don't know what it's called, but I'll put a link in the description. The traditional hardware store hose clamp is like a worm hose clamp, and I'm not crazy about these, but you know, you can use whatever you want. It doesn't have to be super tight, it just has to stay together. The other thing I wanted to mention is that when the air cleaner is on, the cleaner itself, or the backing plate on the cleaner, is going to prevent this hose from popping out up here. So that's a good thing too. So I have both of those clamps installed. As you do it, you want to pull some forward pressure on this T so that it's pointing towards you, otherwise it has a tendency to point back towards the fins. But once those clamps are tight, it should stay oriented like that. Okay, so all the clamps are tight. There it is. Once I have the air cleaner put back on, and you're standing up or even alongside the bike, it should not be very noticeable at all. And really the point of this is to prevent that oil mist from being drawn into your intake and into the combustion chamber. I have a little inspection camera. I've pulled my spark plugs in the past and taken a look at what the pistons look like. There's a little bit of carbon in there, and this bike has almost 30,000, actually 29,000 on it. So I was surprised it looked as good as it did for those miles. But it's just one of those things. It's a really simple mod and just something I've been wanting to do. So I took some black RTV sealant and put it around these fuel lines. Don't want anything entering the air cleaner that is unfiltered. And the job is done. So just walking around the bike, you can't really even see that little filter unless you bend down and get up close. And there she is tucked in there. So those who have this style filter say every now and then you just need to take a paper towel and wipe off any oil that might be around the bottom of it. But that oil is better there than inside the combustion chamber. So pretty easy job. The filter was $18 on eBay. The Y-shaped brass T was $5 also on eBay. I had the 1/4 inch ID hose. You only need 18 inches of it, but I think a 6-foot length runs about $10. I already had those little Glark clamps, but a couple of small hose clamps, shouldn't be very much money. So all in all, a very inexpensive job. Say $30, $35. There you go. Thanks for watching.